Morning! First Wizards of the Coast news of the day. Okay, if you're still here, I guess you want to hear this. What's up, boys and girls? It's your boy, the OG GM, coming to you live on a rainy, lazy Tuesday morning here, wherever it is I live. It's about 8:30 in the morning on the 16th day of May 2023, and it's raining. And Wizards of the Coast has posted the response to the latest round of playtests, specifically in regards to the Druid and Paladin. So, and as usual, when they do these things, they pulled out Jeremy Crawford from whatever vat they're keeping him in, and proceeded to allow his schwarmy ass to give us 20 minutes talking about nothing. And then, of course, they encapsulated what it is he actually said in a teeny little blipvert. Once again, letting us know that, this is about 2 minutes worth of information, and they gave Crawford 20 minutes of screen time, which for Crawford is actually short, because usually he goes about 40 minutes talking about nothing other than, how wonderful he is. So let's see the results of the survey for the Druid and the Paladin. First, Paladin. It's fine the way it is. People were basically 70% results were okay with it. People were upset that you couldn't have ranged smite. Could you have ranged smite before? So I guess smite was interesting enough that people were now like, well, I want to be able to do this, but I don't actually want to have them hit back. Well, it feels to me like ranged smite would be more of like maybe a ranger thing, or a class that's actually built about ranged attacks. Paladins are more or less, sword and board, plate mail, shield, longsword, the holy flames, but that's what they used to be. Who knows what they are now? Other than that, yeah. So of the two, Paladin came out relatively unscratched for the class that's played the least. People were generally about 70% positive on the current iteration of the Paladin for 2024 D&D, which of course means nothing, because history has shown us that no matter what we tell them, they're just going to do what they want to do anyways. So take anything they say with a grain of salt. Generally, the result for Paladins was it's fine. All the reviews are it's fine. Wasn't awful. It's fine. It's kind of a failure, but fine. It's not really what we wanted, but it's fine. So generally, yeah, 70% satisfaction out of 100, which doesn't sound that great, but considering it's it's a Paladin, at the end of the day, how often do people actually play Paladins unless it's the Paladin-Warlock combination? So, yeah. On the other hand, Druid apparently was generally referred to yet again as kind of awful. 14% satisfaction out of the Druid. A lot of people said no more wild shape. According to this, there was a generally negative response to the current wild shape. In fact, so negative that there are people going, I never want to see wild shape in Druid again. While others are saying this is the best version of wild shape I've ever seen. Now, mind you, they made this wild shape based upon the trailer for the D&D movie, because so many people were complaining that Druids couldn't turn into Owlbears. So Wizards of the Coast listened to you and said, fine. Here is a way to justify how she turned into a Owlbear. Okay? Here's how you do it. You're just this amorphous blob of goop with this many hit dice, and then you can make it look like whatever you want. So if you want to be an Owlbear, you can be an Owlbear. If you want to be a table, you can be a table. Okay, maybe not a table, but you get the general idea. And apparently they figured out that there were, based upon the playtest, there were about 14 options that you could do with the wild shape as written. Some people found this to be a little too open, but easier to use because it excluded things like weights and merits and other things like that that might have come into question previously. Not that any time I ever remember anybody actually being that nitpicky about things like the weight. But it was generally disfavorably received. A lot of responses here say it was awful. So much so that Wizards of the Coast is now saying, we are going to look at it again at the next playtest. Mind you, they also said that this is probably the last playtest before they go into production because, it's May, June, July, August, September, October, November. 2, 3, 4, 5. So you got 5 months to actually write this thing. Guys, if we're going to see anything going into, plus the Christmas break and the advertising campaign, when are we going to see this? I doubt we'll see it in January. February, doubtful. March, May. I can see earliest March. Unless they want to get it in for late Christmas. I don't know, because they haven't told us when we're going to see it. But if you're going to have another playtest because so many people responded negatively to Druid, and then of course also tell us that this is probably the last playtest, it's sort of confusing, but look what we're talking about. There's a new Druid power called Channel Nature. It's similar to the Channel Divinity power in Clerics. Apparently people like that. In fact, a lot of people were like, we want to see more done with the Moon Druids this time around, the other Druid build. So that's interesting to see that people want more of a actual Druid instead of Bear Tank. Generally, the most positive reviews were for the Moon Druid and the Lunar Druid and the other Druid, and they want the Moon Druid forms to be more resilient, more adaptable, but still not. Oh, here's an interesting one. They don't want Druids to be that overpowered. People were not that positive about the amount of times you could wild shape, or the facts that high-level Druids have the ability to refresh their hit points total. Why would people not want that? Are the 5th edition crowd actually coming forward and saying things that we have wanted to hear for a while now? Or could it be that everything we've, heard from the 5th edition crowd aren't actually the people who play 5th edition, and that Wizards of the Coast has been constantly pandering to people who don't play? And now if you actually listen to the players, you realize that the D&D Wizards of the Coast is giving them is not the D&D they want. That could explain why Shadow Dark did so well. So it might be very surprising to a lot of people to hear that during the playtest for the Druid, of the 14% that actually were positive, it was they felt the high-level Druid build was too powerful. They wanted them to rein in power. Other than that, generally it was, again, Paladin, fine. Druid, awful. Paladin, awful. Druid, fine. Wild shape, failure. Wild shape, failure. Elemental shapes, failure. 2014 Moon Druid was better. Feels like a warlock, which of course is interesting since they, shafted warlocks. Don't see why paladins can't have ranged smite, just because, so what? They never had it before. Make it a feat. Just generally, it's okay. Druids back to the drawing board. Paladins are okay. Druids are back. Oh, here's one calling Jeremy an idiot. Push everything back, or make everything a template, make it a completely different game. Zero rate any design. Templates are better. Yeah, generally not a positive review to the latest playtest. Looks like the 5e crowd is waking up, or they were just always there and we didn't hear them because they were so overshadowed with this layer of stupidity that is Wizards of the Coast and the ungrateful fan base who they keep trying to make happy. But when they actually get around to actually giving game rules to people who actually care about the game and the mechanics, those mechanics are now finally being looked at and going, I'm disappointed. This is very interesting. I'm actually surprised Paladin rated as well as it is, but I guess people have just sort of given up on Paladin and Ranger. And I think Druid was the main one because of Owlbear Gate. So many people were upset over the whole Owlbear thing, and Wizards of the Coast tried to give people what they wanted, and people are like, yeah, the people who were upset about Owlbear Gate aren't actually the people who play D&D, and if D&D 5e players are saying the high-level current build of Druid needs to be toned down, that should say something. I find that interesting. Also, apparently, somebody thinks Jeremy Crawford is an idiot. Then that person is my new favorite person of the day. So, what do you think, 5e fans? What are your feelings about the current playtest, which may or may not be the last playtest? Now, they were like, well, this is probably the last one. We might do one more, but now it's like, yeah, we're going to do one more. I don't know when, because we don't have a lot of time left, because it's, basically June. But yeah, we'll do some more, and we'll basically just give you more of the same. And, we listened to all your playtests. We obviously listened to all your playtests. We definitely listened to all the playtests. It doesn't mean we're going to implement anything you say in the playtests, but we definitely listen to them. But yeah, I am cautiously optimistic that so many people are saying not positive things about the playtest, especially with the Druid. So it's another example of Wizards of the Coast giving people what they think they wanted, only to find out, no, that's not, in fact, what people wanted. And the people that Wizards of the Coast continued to try and appease and make happy are not the people who actually matter. They're not the people who are buying the game. Wizards of the Coast continues to write Dungeons and Dragons for people who don't actually play D&D. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you're thinking. I don't think we have anything else to talk about Wizards of the Coast today, but it is only 8:30, so we still got a whole day to go. All right, that's it. Talk to you later. Let me know what you're thinking about the Druid build. Do you even care? It's like, dude, I play Castles and Crusades. I don't care about your stupid D&D Druid. I don't really either. I just find it kind of interesting. I'll see you later.